Hello there, many thanks for joining us in this morning's Business News Report. It's now time to bring you the feature on the show today as we focus on the latest developments happening in the aviation sector today. Now, Nigerian airline operators say the rise in cost of operations aggravated by the hike in aviation fuel, foreign exchange shortages, among other contending issues, are responsible for the latest developments that we're experiencing within the aviation sector and can definitely push up baseline for ticket price from about 100 to 150,000 naira. Well, joining me now virtually to discuss this and much more, I have Olumide Onwayo, a member of Aviation Roundtable. Thank you very much for joining us on the breakfast show this morning, Mr. Onwayo.
Thank you.
Now, what are the latest feelers you're receiving as a member of the Aviation Roundtable? Talks around pricing and accessibility of jet A1 fuel. Last week, there were talks around scarcity, despite previous interventions and discussions between government and airline operators over these same issues of availability, accessibility, and pricing of aviation fuel. The resultant effect is that there's no running away, really, from the ticket price hike that we have in the background. What are the latest feelers you have for us?
Well, the energy crisis is not peculiar to Nigeria. It's world over, which is fueled by the Russian-Ukrainian crisis, and that has limited supply. And once supply is limited, then you have demand outstripping supply, and once demand outstrips supply, of course, there's a price that goes up, and that's the reason we have found ourselves. If we had a result for aviation fuel in Nigeria, if we have a place to if we have result like it's done in some other countries, we probably be able to maybe buffer for 6 months and watch what would happen with the prices. But we don't have that. So we buy and sell immediately, and that's the price you pay when you do not plan. And that's what has happened to the airlines. So the airlines have met this price. They've gone back to the ministry, the House of Rep committee, and Central Bank. They've all sat down and said, well, this is not within their powers. They need to help, and whatever help they can do, they will do. People are misconstruing that the airlines want some form of subsidy in aviation fuel. That's not going to happen. Aviation fuel has been deregulated, and that's why when it brings on the market, happens in the international market, we feel it on the domestic front and in price generally. But, by and large, the airlines just have to bear the increasing prices, and probably you expect it to affect the ticket fare. You noticed that they increased those fares about 2 months ago, and what should have been a slight increase was about 100% increase. I think that's the quality of them moving again, remembering the reaction of passengers to that increase. And I think that's where they are turning in between increasing again and see whether they can get a good deal from the government.
And also, the reality remains that we are heavily dependent on imports of jet A1 fuel now. How do you see this pricing mechanism also move forward, especially for the fact that we cannot expect a magic wand to be waved to crash the price of jet A1 fuel?
Well, it's like I said, it's regulated. The only thing that can be tinkered with right now will probably be the charges at the Lagos port and at the airports for each fuel. So I think that's only with the Americans step in, maybe waive those charges for this period of energy crisis, and then allow so the price can come down a bit. That's one area I think that can address this. Again, there is an unholy alliance between the NNPC, the company working for NNPC during the position, the marketers, and even the regulators within the oil and gas sector. Because if you listen to the public hearing about 2 months ago, there's that wide margin between the landing cost and the cost of the outlet. And I think that should have attracted sanctions, but there was no sanction to anybody. They only promised to address that, bring the price down. But by the time they were ready to bring the price down, the price in the international market had shot up again. So that did not allow that to work. And even that the 6 million liters that was provided as was not even gotten from NNPC, as was widely believed. It was one of the oil marketers who bought that from the reservoir. And handed it over to NNPC. So I think that alliance needs to, the regulators in that industry need to work hard, restore confidence, because all what they cannot tamper with the PMS, but all the regulated products are suffering from this wide margin between the landing cost and the cost at the retail outlets. So I think that's an area that the airlines and the government and the airline can work together. So whether those charges can be removed temporarily, those taxes and charges on fuel can be removed temporarily, and then maybe return after the crisis in Ukraine and Russia. But I think that will work for now.
And to what extent, really, do you also see this whole development also affect passenger traffic within the nation's airport and the volume of travel that would likely see? Let's also put this under the proper context, because we still have to deal with insecurity in the country. Aviation provides the safest means of travel as we speak today. To what extent do you see this affecting passenger demand and travel and the whole traffic would expect?
Well, has the resistance from the airlines to increase the fare again, and the need to meet with the government and see what sticker can be placed in front of the president on the price, because the passengers reacted to the last increase, and you expect that there will be the same kind of reaction this time around. The passenger traffic will drop. And the airlines will not be forced to maybe park some of the leased aircraft. If they have those that have leased aircraft, might have to park it. The bigger aircraft will also be parked, and the smaller ones will be used. Frequencies will be reduced. Then maybe probably the new alliances now will keep and improve. We keep better during this period, because when you don't have enough passengers, you can still put them on the partner airline, not a sister airline in the postal system, but now it's a partner airline. Of the alliance, so maybe that's what would happen. But then the important thing for us here is that we should not begin to learn some lessons here. Why don't we have that reservoir that we can store some level of fuel for that period when things are not done, and not when prices are high or when there's crisis outside? It's something we've not been able to do in this country. It's something to look forward to. Why don't we have a refinery for aviation fuel in Nigeria, and we always have to out and import fuel? That's something also we have to. But see, there's good news on the horizon. There are about 102 projects in the oil and gas sector, and most of them are on modular refineries. So you can see that, you will see that sometime in the future, the aviation fuel should be available at a cheaper rate for us. Aqua is also promising and providing a refinery to refine aviation fuel specifically. That's a state that has an airline, has an airport, an aircraft maintenance hangar, which will kickstart very soon. So that's some hopes. And the African Development Bank has just approved some loans for development of the oil sector in Africa, and specifically in Nigeria. So there are hopes, and I just hope we will be capitalized. But there's a need for us to begin to save and keep some, so that when things are bad, you can take from the reserve. Good countries don't do that. You don't have to sell every time. But I am sure we'll be able to do that when we start having refineries all over and they're working.
Another issue that we have to deal with is the fact that we have the aviation sector heavily dollarized, and the issue of forex shortages and scarcity really is also stifling operations. To what extent do you think we can also have some measures to help intervene, because the allocations from the banks is not enough to sustain the aviation sector? How big of a problem is this, and how quick do you anticipate government intervention to ensure that we have the supply to meet the demand for dollars?
I don't think the CBN does not have forex to give to the airline. What CBN does not have is at the rate of that 415. So airlines are made to go and source from the black market. Though they get some quota, but not enough. It's not adequate enough. So they are made to source from the black market. And I think that has to do with the monetary policy of the country. It's not the problem of the airline. The margin between the official rate and the black market is too wide. There's need for the government to work assiduously. Close that margin. If they close that margin, then the scarcity will end. Because what you see that people get the official rate, hold on to it. and sell at the black market, and the black market to hold on to it. So it's right. And then so that the rest of it is right. I think the government should find a way of closing that gap between the official and the black market rate. So that instead of having a speculative economy, we can have a confirmed figure as I exchange it, and everybody can plan with it. That lack of planning with it is what has caused different prices in the aviation fuel, and also that's what is putting pressure on the airlines, the cost of operations, and also making them consider moving the ticket fare from the 30,000 base rate to about 100,000 naira.
Okay, thank you so much for your time on the breakfast show this morning. Mr. Olumide Onwayo is a member of the Aviation Roundtable, and we'll definitely keep tabs on the latest happenings within the world of aviation. Well, that's it from the business desk.